All right, now it's time to present our first speaker of the morning. I'm very excited to introduce you to Janine. Janine Charron is an electrifying international speaker. She's certified by the NYC's Big Talk Academy. She hails from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, so she is a native here. As the creator of the Tiger Method, she's also a breast cancer survivor. She captivates audiences with her unstoppable spirit. A former NCAA Division I hockey player and NWHL alumni, she brings the same drive to the stage as she did on the ice. Founder of Inside Out Studio Bar, lover of all things tigers and chocolates, we can relate. Janine's energy is contagious, inspiring everyone she meets. Please welcome to the stage, Janine Charron.
You know what? About 10 minutes ago, I looked around the room and I was like, oh, they just put me on because they wanted to hear David Usher. They're coming at 10. So thank you for showing up. It's nice to see you all in the room. Do you ever notice how some of us walk through life carrying things no one else can see? Stories, expectations, regrets, versions of ourselves we've outgrown, but still hold on to, just in case. This backpack is everything I thought used to make me strong. Every accomplishment, every title, every I'll show you moment. But here's the thing. Most of what we carry didn't start with us. It started long before we ever knew we were carrying it. Some of it handed down, quiet patterns we inherit without realizing it, and some of it we pick up along the way, shaped by what we were taught or by the environments we grew up in. The pressure to be perfect, the need to prove, the belief that love has to be earned. We hold on to those things, not because someone meant to give them to us, but because they were carrying them too. The moment we stop carrying everything and choose what's ours is what we refer to as awareness. When we are self-aware, we can start to lead ourselves differently. And for me, it started here. You're so loud. Janine, don't slam the door. Yeah. I heard those lines a few times growing up, and I'm pretty sure those of you that were laughing heard them too. And my intention was never to break doors, but I learned not to because somebody has to fix them, my dad. But I also learned that being loud is not the problem when anchored in awareness. Knowing how to read a room, when to speak, when to be quiet, when to lead with fire, and when to lead with stillness. Because passion without direction burns people. Awareness without action keeps us stuck. We need both the fire and the focus. So no, I won't be toning it down. I will still show up with presence, respect, and passion, loud when it matters, quiet when it counts, always fully you. Because being mindful doesn't mean being muted. It means being masterful. I had a number of clues growing up when I look back that were shaping me long before I ever knew what leadership was. Growing up, we're given a million pieces of advice, right? And we never really know what's going to stick. I remember when I was a teenager and I was helping my mom with some laundry, and we were putting the base sheets on the bed. I was on the left side and she was on the right. And as we put the base sheet on the bed, my mother said, "Don't be afraid to take risks, Janine." I never took enough risks. At that moment in time, it was a simple statement, but I took it to heart. That sentence has been replayed in my head over and over. From the moment I heard it, I started taking more risks. In the years that followed, I received a full athletic scholarship to the University of New Hampshire. I was assistant captain of the NCAA Division I ice hockey team, made the dean's list, and graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in business marketing. From there, I went on to play in the National Women's Hockey League, ran 2 half marathons, a full marathon, a sprint triathlon, and I lost 30 pounds in 8 weeks to compete in a bodybuilding figure competition where I took first place. If you can't tell, I love sports and competition. But what stands out to me most about the list of achievements was my mother's lesson was always with me. Don't be afraid to take risks, Janine. And that's when I realized what true leadership was and where it begins. It's the courage to keep showing up without any idea of what's coming next. Just when I thought I had things figured out and had cultivated a long list of successful endeavors, little did I know what the next decade had in store for me. Just like the direction of a hockey game can change in an instant, so did my life. For as long as I can remember, I have always wanted to change the world. But instead, the world changed me. I married the wrong guy twice. We got divorced, filed for bankruptcy, and at the age of 38, I found a lump in my left breast. The biopsy results revealed I had invasive ductal carcinoma, breast cancer. Over 2 years, I underwent 5 surgeries: bilateral mastectomy, 2 reconstruction, salpingo-oophorectomy, and a hysterectomy. In December of 2021, I honestly was completely disgusted with myself. Where was that girl full of drive, consistency, discipline? Where was that girl I knew but no longer was? Nobody would fault me for giving up. I mean, look at all I had just went through. And I almost did. That was my mirror moment. It wasn't what I saw, it's what I didn't see. The athlete, the fire, the belief, gone. That moment wasn't as dark as it sounds, because it was the minute I had to introduce myself to me. I could do hard things, but I didn't know how to slow down long enough to listen. That little Janine was running around in there, right? And what brought me to my knees brought out the best version of me. And what started as a survival method turned into my everyday strategy. Learn yourself, love yourself, lead yourself. Learn yourself because awareness is the foundation of change. Love yourself because compassion reignites confidence. And leadership because it's not about your position, it's not about your title, and it's not about your team. It's about trust. And do you show up when nobody is watching? So what do I mean with learn yourself? One of my earliest memories, which actually make me laugh, is when I was playing at the University of New Hampshire. Now, I went away and turned into a wildcat, and I drank the Kool-Aid. Like, what an experience. I'm just really glad there was no social media when I went to university. I don't know that I'd be on this stage right now. No, just kidding. But I started, and I was playing on the first line. What a dream. Full ride. I could skate. I wasn't always a hockey player. I was actually a ringette. And at 14 or 15, my father put me in a camp with some 10-year-olds. I was like, Dad, this is embarrassing. But I went home that day and said, I never want to play ringette again. No offense to ringette. I love ringette still, but I wanted to play hockey. We end up at UNH, my coach. I'm scoring first 7 games, a goal a game, which is actually kind of ironic because I'm more of a bull in a china shop and I want to cough up the puck. But I was starting my career at UNH impeccably until she reads the lines and I go from first to fourth line. Coach, I went into her office. I don't understand. I'm producing. I'm cheering the team on. I'm active in the locker room. First to fourth, what's going on? You're too fast. The exact quality that got me to that moment in my journey was the quality that was sidelining me. Not really. It was more feedback, but that's how I felt in the moment. And I was like, what are you talking about? That's why you gave me a scholarship. And she said, you are messing up the entire team. I was more like a Tasmanian devil all on the ice, right? Just so excited. I'll go there. Where's the puck? I'll go there. I'll get the puck. Cough it up, blah, blah, blah. But wasn't able to follow systems or processes. And as I was putting together some of my keynotes, it got me to thinking of wow, isn't this part of my journey pretty interesting? Too loud, too busy, too everything. Always any other too much in the room? A little bit? Yeah, you guys are raising your hand silently. I know you. I can see you. So this was one of the first instances where just showing up without awareness wasn't going to get me to the next level. And when I teach this, I speak a lot I do executive leadership development. I'll work with athletes on sports teams. They'll bring me in. We'll do mindset training. We'll do one-on-one. I do a YouTube series with I'll interview NHL, NFL, NCAA athletes on transitions to life after sports. So I've gotten to really understand that a lot of the things that happen to us when we're excavating our mind are very similar. So in regards to this, I had to really sit back and think about what got me here and what's going to get me to that next level. How do I work my way back to the first line? So I want you to reflect on yourself as well. When I speak to people that are going through something, or maybe you're just you're like, Janine, my life's great. I don't need any of this. Keep going, girl. Woo woo over there, right? This is not about that. A lot of us fill our brains like a filing cabinet. Maybe it's your garage, maybe it's your closet, relate to whichever relates to you. But we put so much stuff in there. Anyone ever go to clean out their garage or filing cabinet? What happens? pull out way more than you were expecting, right? And it's like, oh God, I didn't even know this was here. But then it's just like, look at this mess. And you usually leave it, go do something and come back to it, right? You're like, I'll deal with that later. The ones laughing, you do that all the time. We have work to do. You can come see me after. But I want you to think of your mind like a filing cabinet. And if there's any part of your journey where you want to deepen your self-awareness, which I believe in lifelong learning until the day I go to the grave, that will be the process. But the first step, people always ask me, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. I'm like, you have awareness, but you haven't taken any action. The first action is to let's get everything out. A lot of people think they need to add more to their plate. We need to remove. If all the peak performers, high performance athletes, they are uber self-aware. So self-aware of their actions, their decisions, their habits, their triggers, their patterns, what they need to rest. Amateurs just focus on hard work. Professionals focus on how they recover. That's a big difference that I learned from a performance psychologist, Michael Gervais. He's got great work out there. But we want to excavate the mind. When we're in this learning phase, which started off for me as a season of silence, divorce taught me I did exactly what society told me to do. I went to university, got a degree, got married, and got a job. Right? Bankruptcy taught me to listen to my gut and intuition. I knew we should have never opened that second ballet bar studio. I felt the signs, but ignored it. It was literally like trying to put a square peg in a round hole. And breast cancer taught me to slow down, to pause, to reflect, and stop trying to force my will on everything. I was built to push. I have spent my entire life developing the mental, the physical, the professional. I can achieve, I can perform. But I couldn't quiet myself. And this is usually one of the first steps that I have to deal with when I'm with an athlete or somebody who just wants to up-level their life. And it's like, well, what is even in there? We got to take it out. Someone will say, well, what would you say to so-and-so? I'm like, I don't even know them. I don't know your passions. I don't know your triggers. I don't know if you walk around angry, sad, happy, joyful. What is your emotional state that drives you during the day? Nor can you. If you're someone who feels like you have relationships that are constantly failing, I would advise you to do this first, because we tend to reflect back in others what we see in ourselves. So if we don't know ourselves, if we don't know what our strengths and our weaknesses are, if we don't know that Joe Blow triggers me every time I'm at the water cooler, we got to figure that out. Right? We want to enjoy water with Joe. We don't want to get mad at him every time he exists and breathes in a room. You know, the person at the table that walks in and you're like, you feel the oxygen just go. And then you're like, wow, thanks for taking up the space, Joe. Right? So we need to excavate the mind. One thing that comes up with all my athletes, this next one, the loop of credibility. I get asked all the time, Janine, how do we build their confidence? What makes someone resilient? We hear a lot about self-talk. But I invite you, and if you have a book or a notepad, write down credible self-talk. There's a difference because there's science that backs this and the way our brain works. Credible self-talk. So when we're younger, of course, we've seen a lot of people have seen The Secret come out, or you can't sit on your couch and just say, I'm gorgeous. I got a full bank account, and poof, your bank account you've got a six-pack and a wad of cash. It's not going to happen. I would like to imagine that would, but it doesn't happen. So how do we build the belief in that voice within our heads? And some of you are like, Janine, I don't have a voice in my head. Yes, you do. The one that just said that to you. Okay? The one that's judging me as maybe you don't like green. I'm actually a red girl. I was actually nervous to wear a green suit. I was like, this is not me, but I'll try it. Melanie Lynn, by the way. I got to tell them I just plugged them for them, right? So we've got this voice that's constantly talking to us. And when I went through breast cancer, my athletic ability, my superpower was gone. All I could do was meditate and sit with myself and write. And I, to this day, tell everyone it was the biggest blessing I ever received. My mom, I remember I was walking this way because my house was here. The mailbox was over here. And I remember looking up and saying, thank you. And I shared that with my mom, and my mom's like, Janine, I don't know what God you pray to, but I'm not thanking anyone for your breast cancer. And I was like, Mom, you don't get it. When I was 20, I sat on a plane to LA. My ex-husband was a football player, and he played out of the Staples Center. And I remember writing, we were flying out to see him, and I remember writing in my journal, one day, the entire world will know what the Tiger method is. But I was too young. 20 and like, hey, positive energy. I would rather listen to a 60-year-old that has some life, sweetheart, right? So I was like, I knew this was I guess everything happens in threes: divorce, bankruptcy, breast cancer. But don't try to go through all three before you learn this stuff, like I did. I love to learn the hard way. So what I mean about the loop of credibility, I had to get really clear on who I was and how I was showing up. And I mean, cancer. I was like, well, if I'm going to die, and I know that could be triggering, and I'm not meaning to say it carelessly. I'm talking to myself here. I was like, I got to get my stuff out to the world. That's when I've been speaking since 2010, but breast cancer was when I really took on the professional circuit, and I had to get it out. And I was writing and writing and writing and writing and writing, and all these thoughts and ideas. Journaling's a very funny process. Honestly, like the first 5 were so repetitive. Like the things we say back to ourselves over and over. We want to get out of that loop and get rid of that stuff. Like the constant information that I was putting on paper was like, Jesus, who are you? It didn't match the girl that could perform, the girl that could give me a hockey stick and a slap shot, top shelf peanut butter, baby, all day long. Sit with myself. Right? Whoa, what was that? Oh, I'm trying to listen to myself, and all I'm having is visuals going by. I had to learn how to calm the brain. But in order for us to build our belief, and a lot of what I deal with in life after sports, this comes transitions, identity. I don't care if you played a sport. You might have been a horseback rider, a woodworker. There is something you love to do so fiercely that time stands still when you do it. You forget to eat. You've developed that craft. It's part of you. But somewhere along the way, we tend to leave that part of us. I get it. Life's expensive. Kids, everything. We kind of lose ourselves a little. So this is about how do we bring ourselves back into alignment and attention. And the loop of credibility, going back to the self-talk, when you take action, we give ourselves evidence. Now, that doesn't mean it's always going to be good. I have failed more times than I could count. A lot. But I don't have 10 hours to tell you all about them, right? But I would take more action. Then you would see a success. Evidence is gained, right? So we take an action, we build evidence. Oh, look at that. My belief goes up, my confidence increases. Positive self-talk starts to change because your words have receipts. Any diet starts tomorrow? Yeah. And then we're like, bullshit, I just bought $50 at Bulk Barn. I do that all the time. I love it. But honestly, when I started to learn what was going on the science side and my brain, and like I knew what to do, but I couldn't do it. It was just like this, I was stuck. Awareness without action. 2 things happen. You build self-trust and you build belief. And that voice in your head, because you've taken action, you've given your word a receipt. So like when you go to buy something, we get a receipt. When you take action, you're getting a receipt. Yeah, I did that. I prepped for this talk. I've got receipts. So when I come up here, I've got belief in myself. I'm prepared. When you go to do something that's important to you, I've always loved this saying, don't be upset for the results you didn't get from the work you didn't do. I'll say that again because I know you just went, whoa. Don't be upset for the results you didn't get from the work you didn't do. Right? I say this to my athletes all the time. Chris Pronger, actually, who is one of my guests on my YouTube series, great NHL defenseman, he would look at the rookies and they'd be on their phones and he's like, buddy, get off your phone. You're not being paid to be on social media. Get out and practice. Come in earlier. If you don't know something, we study. We learn. The same is true for ourselves. And can you only imagine that if you knew yourself better, how much better we can perform? This work is not about yourself. It is, but it's also about our collective consciousness, how we raise awareness amongst ourselves. We are sharing this planet. When I see garbage, I tell my children to pick it up. And at first, what does someone usually say? It's not mine, but it's your planet, right? So my little ones, Sally and George, they're picking up trash everywhere we go. I'm like, no, I don't have a trash can. Don't pick that up. That might have it. Don't touch that. We're downtown Ottawa. No, don't do that. Right? But the actions produce the evidence, build the belief, and the confidence is grown. So everybody always, I'm not confident. They're not confident. What action can you take to start to build your awareness? If you have younger children or teenagers and they lack confidence, well, show me their list of experiences. Or are they stuck on a scroll hole? Parents, get a box, put those phones in them, burn the box. But their brains are not developed for that. We need to get them out. You want to spend time with your children or loved ones? Book an experience. Forget the gifts. I mean, I like a gift too. You can give me a gift, but book an experience. We're giving them a new way to interact with themselves and the world around them. It's invaluable. Loop of credibility for the rest of your life. Tattoo it right there. Okay? This will give you the belief in yourself that you've been searching and wondering why you were stuck, because awareness without action keeps you stuck. If you remember anything, you remember that. Okay? Now, this is a big learning that I had to learn. Resilience. Again, I get asked, Janine, how do we teach people to be resilient? Well, I'm pretty sure you don't want me to come through and say divorce, bankruptcy, breast cancer, and just give you these hard times are not something that we look to go out and seek. I'm not like, hey, today I'm going to I don't even want to say that. That's going to happen. I'm not even going to say it. But I don't want to wish upon myself a terrible day or a terrible experience. But resilience is built on showing up, doing the hard thing. When we have no control and we cannot see in front of us, it's not rocket science. It's, are you willing to keep showing up when no one is watching? Not when they're watching because you're performing, but when no one's watching. And that's a real conversation that we need to have with ourselves. Push, pause, or pivot. This was my learning. I pushed. I always pushed. If we got into a disagreement, I'd be like, no. Wait, we had to talk about, I would not give you space. I would chase after you. We had to talk about it. Maybe you're someone who's like, hey, I need 24 hours to process. I'd be in your grill because I didn't want to have any bad feelings. And I wanted to make sure that you still liked me because fear of judgment was like just taking over my whole mind. And I don't care what you're going through because my psychological safety is all up here. Maybe that was time for a pause, J9. Your tiger energy needs to take a back seat. Right? I want you to picture yourself on a bus, like a cozy bus, right? When you are interacting with someone who triggers you, I want you to visualize who is driving the bus. Is it like crazy, psycho Janine, or is it like calm and cool? Hey, that's okay. Try and understand the person. A lot of times when we get triggered, fire comes out, and that person just gets... all your childhood issues come out on that person. We don't mean to, but it just happens, right? So learning to pause, push, pause, or pivot is a secret sauce with our athletes. Sometimes they just need to rest. You've been going nonstop. More is not the answer. Reflection. Stillness. You feel that? You're like, yeah, because you just took a breath, Janine. Thank you. Right? This is a very, very important part to get. Love yourself. It sounds fluffy, I know, but it's not. Love yourself is about respect. Love yourself is about boundaries. Loving yourself is about no, period. Right? How many times have you said yes when you really wanted to say no? Can I see a show of hands for that one? Come on. Right? Why do we do that? It's like, no, I'm not drinking this weekend. Yeah, we are. Or I'm not going to go through Tim Hortons. I'm just going to get, my medium 2 cream. Oh, can you throw in a sour cream glazed? Diet starts tomorrow. Right? We do this all the time. There's nothing wrong with those things in moderation, right? But loving yourself, when we learn what's driving our bus, when we learn, I talk about the many faces of Janine. When I first started after breast cancer, my husband was like, I don't think this stuff is working. I'd set up a little place. We have a fireplace. I made it all cozy, like chakra rocks and like crystals. I found a spray. You spray it over your head and it's like, your mission will come through if you spray yourself. I was all fully involved and I believe in that stuff. I'm not knocking it. I actually love it and I use it, but I also realize I can connect to source without anything around me. I've learned that part of my practice has deepened. But loving yourself, so I start meditating and writing and start writing to like controlling Janine. She was fun. She was really fun to talk to. Controlling Janine. And then I would, just to give you examples of like, well, what do you mean? How do you excavate your mind and talk to these different parts of you? This is just intuition. This just came to me. So I started talking to controlling Janine, which is funny because when my husband walks in the room, I'm like, oh, like mirroring all the voice going off and I'm trying to like be present, but old Janine would come out and try to control. It's a learning process. You're going to go like 2 steps forward into this new version of yourself and then rawr, and then you're going to go. And then you're going to back up. And this is the process of like, how do I get from where I am to where I want to be? It's learn yourself, love yourself. Compassion. My goodness, compassion. I'm going to be brutally honest with you. Last night I was crying. And my daughter was like, Mom, you're totally fine. I was like, I still get nervous, Sally, even after 15 years of doing this stuff. I get nervous because I don't want it to be about me. I want it to be about you. I want you to walk away with a new piece of yourself that you didn't see before, that we unlock in our time together. I value that you chose to be here today. So I take it very seriously. And then my husband, it was kind of funny. I was like, oh, I'm learning myself because I'm like, okay, Janine's being emotionally hijacked right now. Then I was like, you got this. You've practiced. You've done it. You're good. And then my daughter gave me some nice external words. And then my husband's like, the husband, just trust yourself. Yeah, you're right. But I was like, you're right. Just trust myself. And I do because my words have receipts. Loop of credibility, right? I've put the time in. I've taken the action. So I believe in myself. We don't just decide one day we're going to be confident. I mean, you could put your shoulders back. Body language will tell us a lot about each other. If we're like this, oh yeah, hi guys. Thank you for having me today. I'm so glad you came and you took day, right? Or, yeah, here we are. A different energy. We feel different. So learning and loving yourself is giving yourself a whole lot of grace. A lot of people will be like, well, what's the Tiger method? It's got many different acronyms. I'm not breaking it open today, but it's together in grace, everything rises. So TIGER. Together in grace, everything rises. So when I feel the inner critic going crazy and like putting myself down, I'm not kidding. When I had that mirror moment, after breast cancer, I mean, behind closed doors, bankruptcy, not breast cancer because that was more health related, but we were drinking way more than we should. I remember looking at myself in the mirror being like, you're such a loser. Who are you? Some athlete you are, but here you are behind closed doors. If we cannot show up in integrity behind closed doors, there is work to do. There's always work to do, but that would be my biggest invitation to someone that I was working with, right? So I had to learn, when I looked back in my journals, oh my goodness, it made me cry. I wanted to hug myself. The way I speak to myself was brutal. But if you knew me and everyone that knows me in my life is, geez, so positive, full of energy, blah, blah, blah. But behind closed doors, I am so tough on myself. And I'm sure a lot of you are too. We perform. We don't mean to. I'm authentic and genuine. But I'm sure many of us have smiled when we didn't want to. Right? So learning to love yourself and giving yourself grace is very important. And lastly, we have lead yourself. When I think of leadership, again, we think title, position. Your title means jack. how you treat people, how you show up, the care and compassion, saying hello, or do you just walk by everyone and go right to your desk? You want to change the culture of your team? Just start picking your head up and saying hi. It's a dying thing today. Walk down the street, see how many people. My husband makes it a joke. He's like, let's see how many people we can smile today. And he's kind of the crusty one, which is really funny. But it's true. We need to stop looking down, start looking up so we can be there for each other. But if I don't know myself, and if I don't give myself grace, how am I ever going to give you compassion? I can't even give it to myself. My bucket is empty. I use this as, can you come here? Yeah, come on. Yes, O'Day, I see you. Get over here. Actually, come up. Do you want to come up? Come up. I'm glad you put on that very nice outfit for us today. Come here. That's okay. I know. We're at limit. Okay. I want you to think of your mind. So hold this can and hold this one. When we learn, here, we'll come to the center so everyone can see. When we learn about ourselves and we learn, oh, you didn't want to walk to the center too? Psychological state. What's your inner critic saying right now?
I don't want to be up here.
Exactly. Well, you showed up, so thank you. When we take action, when we invest in ourselves, when we learn and we give ourselves grace, we are putting in what we call a deposit. Daily deposits of leadership. So when I have learned, when I go to the gym, deposit. When I call a friend, deposit. When I tell someone I need help, deposit. When I take care of my neighbor, deposit. So when life happens, so if you hold this hand up, life happens, you get a diagnosis that you don't want. Try to squeeze the can as hard as you can. Because of the way we've learned to love ourselves, learn ourselves, and lead ourselves, we have a full cup. Deep roots. Think about a tree growing down. We can't be as easily swayed because we know ourselves. We learn, we love. We lead from this place of alignment and intention of good, not only for myself, but for you. We need to take care of each other. Now, if I was self-serving and didn't do much for my personal development, and life comes and gives me some bad news, what happens? Don't break your hand, please. Thank you. You are released. Psychological safety restored. Okay? We can't lead from an empty cup. And that's what this message is for you today. How do we lead from a place of alignment, from a place of intention, right? But if we don't slow down, it's a hard one for me still, long enough to get to know ourselves and give ourselves some grace, forgiveness, compassion based on any mistake you've made, you're human. There's bad behavior. And I know and I was going to say there's not bad people. I know there are bad people in the world, so I don't want that to be taken out of context. But from everyday normal human, right? There's bad behavior, but you're not a bad human. You just need to learn yourself, love yourself, and lead yourself differently so you can show up the way you've always seen yourself. You know, I always say I learned the hard way, but the vision of myself was not matching the external experience. Why? Because I wasn't doing the work. And this doesn't have to be a lot, like you don't have to go sit and forest bathe and disappear for a year and pet dragons and stuff like that in the forest, right? To be at one with yourself, this could be 5 minutes a day. This could be 5 minutes before you go into a meeting. Parents with my athletes, I'm like, do you know how much stress? We're going into a championship game. They're 10. They don't know how to feel, but because you're anxious and you're competitive and you're right in them, it's called mirror neurons. They're adapting to your energy and they're feeling it, right? But if we're calm and we take a breath, we focus, we've got spiritual, mental, connection and relational, I don't have my glasses on, and physical fitness. So when we deepen our connection to self, we're depositing daily into those quadrants. Yours might be different. That's the beautiful stuff about this work. It doesn't have to be like me, but you just have to start and you have to keep showing up. And lastly, this is what I use as feedback. So when I like to set my intentions, I used to just be like, fly by, hey, we're just going to see what the world brings us. That only gets you so far. And I love being free spirit, and I always leave room for magic in my calendar. We need to remove the things that don't serve us, the people, the negative energy. And I'm not about ghosting. Let me be clear. We all deserve a little grace. Some people, yes, we need to exile. And they're usually family members. I'm just kidding. Well, not really. Yeah, everybody just thought of someone. Sorry to that family member, right? But we need to be aware of what we need to fill our cup. You can't just hang out with the best of the best. That's not human. I don't want to drop you just because you had a bad day or you reacted. It was a bad moment. How can I help? If you have a bad performance review or somebody's giving you one, instead of being like, hey, why haven't you hit your numbers? Hey, is everything okay? I noticed you're different. And you find out they're going through a divorce, or their dog just passed, or a parent is sick, or a child. We have no idea what anyone is going through. So compassion, empathy is the underlying action in a lot of my work. But this is how we can check ourselves if we're like, oh, did I say yes or did I say no? And did I want to say yes or did I want to say no? I use these 4 pillars: honest, responsible, consistent, and disciplined. Was I honest with myself and the person that I'm dealing with? 2 parts. It's not just about you. It's about us. Was my action responsible? If my decisions bring harm to you, it's not a responsible decision. Even if you try to convince yourself that it's not. What's better for the group is always the way. Consistent. That's been a big one for me. Consistency has been my because as an athlete, I was an extremist. I lost 30 pounds in 8 weeks to win first place. Like that is, guys, I climbed through a window to get on a treadmill to make that happen. That's another story. You can find me at the table later. I'll explain it. It's pretty funny. Consistency, right? Are we doing the things that we said we're going to do? Are we building that loop of credibility with ourselves by daily deposits? And disciplined. Are you saying no? Really want to? That bag that we carry, the weight of the world, we chose to carry it. We can take it off and choose what stays. We have that choice. You have that freedom. You have that ability. But are you slowing down to give yourself the space to find out what's in your garage, what's in your filing cabinet, what's in your closet, so that we pick and choose what stays. The rest we send off to, is it Sally Ann or Goodwill, right? And now we operate from this calendar and space that has so much room. If you've been feeling, oh my gosh, like your capacity, someone talks and you're like spitting fire, your capacity is, we need to excavate. We need to pull out. Okay? And we need to give ourselves a whole lot of grace. We don't need to be the version of ourselves like athletes, identity. When I interview them, I'd love to introduce myself as like, everyone would introduce me as Janine, the hockey player, or NCAA athlete. Well, that identity stuck with me. I was pretty proud of that. People were excited to say that. Then it was the National Women's Hockey League. Then it was when I owned Inside Out Studio Bar. I look back at this, I'm like, gross. I introduced myself as the owner. Ew. Hi, yeah, I'm Janine, the owner. Now my awareness was like, it wasn't intentional. I didn't know I was doing it. It was harmless, and I was being honest. But now with more awareness, I realize true leadership is not having to prove yourself. It's just knowing your worth. And for me, I think about this a lot. A lot of people will say life's currency is time or life's currency is money. To me, life's currency is showing up. Magic happens when you pursue your goals and dreams. Life shows up for you because you show up for it. Magic happens when you stop treating your body like a garbage can. Your body shows up for it when you learn to take care of it and nourish it. Magic happens when you're kind to others and treat them with care and compassion. People show up for you because you showed up for them. Magic happens when you challenge yourself to learn new skill sets or new ways of being. The world shows up differently when you learn to understand it and yourself more deeply. So where in your life could you invest more time or energy so that you can wake up with a sense of calm, connection, and peacefulness? And when you feel lost or stuck, and trust me, at some point you will, don't be afraid to disappear, shut out the noise, loud when it matters, quiet when it counts, always fully you. Just keep showing up. Thank you.
Amazing, Janine. That was such an inspirational talk you had with us this morning. What a great way to start the day. Another round for Janine. That was incredible.
Thank you.
You
want to submit it?
I've taken a lot of notes, and I will be implementing a lot of these changes starting today. So thank you for that. We have some time for some questions, so you can head to Slido and ask your questions there. We do have some questions already queued up. So I'll go through the questions with you, and we'll have a little chat.
Do I have to read that? I can't.
No, I got you. I got you. We got the spectacles here. Once you paused, when did you find that motivation to pick up and take action? I find the pause almost creates a new status quo, and it's hard to pick up again. Almost like losing that motivation.
Yeah. Well, this is a lot of what I try to speak about. Don't wait to be diagnosed with breast cancer to figure out that you need to slow down. What I would do with that is find a picture of yourself, like when you were really little, and put it on your screensaver. And when you get worked up, how would you speak to that little girl or that little boy? Because we speak completely different. And one thing that I didn't share with you that was a big lesson of mine was tone and timing. My father and parents, very blessed, love them both, but he was a very strict RCMP officer. And so his external words became my internal words. And so I would always hear that voice. He wasn't hard on me the way I was hard on myself, but that's where I learned to perform. So sometimes, depending on who we're speaking to, it's hard to slow down. It's hard to pause. Honestly, journal, safe space, a place you feel comfortable, nature, and just start writing. This is why I call it just keep showing up, because you got to trust that you don't know what's coming next, and just know that it will be better. There's no way that you can go back from not learning more about yourself, right?
Right,
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, next question. When you've gone through these hard times, how much do you rely on others versus yourself to help get you through it?
Well, initially, it was like, I'll show you, I can do it, because I'm a pusher. Strength was my superpower. But I've also learned, like last night, even when I'm not kidding, I was in tears. And I sat on, well, I didn't sit on him, I sat beside him, but like on him, on my husband, on the couch, and I was like, I'm feeling really anxious right now. And that's when he laid into the, just trust yourself, right? And I was like, wow, words of inspiration. Where'd you get that from? But immediately I was able to be vulnerable. A lot of people are afraid to be vulnerable because they think it means they're weak. There's a difference of saying I need help. And one thing that has allowed me to close the gap faster is asking for help when I need it. I don't need to do it. I don't need to shoulder all the weight. Put the bag down. We have a team for a reason, but that's where if we build a relationship with ourselves and our team, we can say, hey, Danielle, I'm having a really tough time. And maybe, they say there's 12 minutes. I've always got 12 minutes for you. Give your friend 12 minutes, they can turn things around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And that, I think, speaks to the workplace really well. Absolutely. We get calls often from members saying, I'm struggling, I'm having a hard time. Reach out to your colleagues, reach out for help. Yeah. People are so reticent to ask for help, but if you were to turn the corner on them and say, hey, would you be happy or grateful if somebody came to you for help? Absolutely, 100%.
There's an important piece there, though. There's a responsibility piece. I know we have these mental health days and sick days. It's not just like unlimited mental health days, unlimited sick days, right? We have a responsibility to fill our cup when we are away from work so that we can show up to our best of our ability, so that when we do have a mental health or a sickness day, we've done our part in how we contribute to the problem, and then we allow that too, right? I always say, what is the role that you're playing in your own suffering? We all play a role. Yep. Some people will tell me they don't, but we do. So I would invite personal introspection as well as the assistance from our colleagues too.
Yeah, great. That's great. Wonderful. Good insight. If you could travel back in time and meet the young version of yourself, what advice?
Be loud! Slam the door! You know what? I honestly wouldn't change a thing. I've made a lot of mistakes. I get emotional with this one. I really like who I am now. And I don't have to perform for approval. And as someone who did that a lot in my life, I'm telling you, it's a blessing when you can take that off. So I would just say, keep showing up. And your path will reveal itself.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
I said I wasn't going to cry. Of course, I'm a tear.
That's okay. You're being vulnerable. You're showing up, and that's okay. How can someone start setting healthy boundaries while learning to love themselves? And what's one way to stick to them without feeling guilty?
No. Just start saying no. Practice it. It's a reflex. Just like any of this self-awareness stuff, physically it's easy to go to the gym. We've got that. We've been taught that. But taking 2 minutes to reflect, right? It's a muscle. You got to flex it. Don't start by like saying no and being extravagant and doing like this overhaul. I mean, that's what I did. It was like, diet starts tomorrow. I'm not drinking for 3 months. And then it's like, oh, here she goes again, right? I didn't know how to give myself boundaries in the day. This is where we go to daily deposits of leadership. It's like, what do I need in this moment? Am I feeling good? Do I have a full cup? Can I be there for someone? Or maybe I need to pause, that push, pause, and pivot. Or maybe, you know what? I thought this is what I wanted, but I've actually learned this does not inspire, align, energize me. I'm going to make a different choice. Push, pause, or pivot. And then start small. Small actions, small decisions, no boundaries, and then 1 minute you'll just be like Fort Knox and no one's going to be able to enter that energy field.
Yeah, I love that. I actually wrote that down, push, pause, pivot. I think that is such a wonderful takeaway from your talk this morning. And the boundary setting, I think, is really, really wonderful, and being able to say no. And sometimes it's about, and you tell me what you think about this, but it's about telling people, I'm practicing setting boundaries.
Yeah.
Because people are going to see that, all of a sudden Janine's demeanor has changed. She's not saying yes off the cuff. And I wonder what that's about. And that's a big part in people not being able to say no, that there's a vulnerability there. And so being able to say, hey, I'm trying something out, something new out.
There's also, we could communicate a lot more effectively. Anybody in a relationship and it's like, how do they not know? Why did they do that? We're like, oh my God, I can't believe he didn't do the dishes. Like, I've been sitting here all the time. Is he making the lunches or am I? We don't communicate.
Yeah.
Say what you mean and be direct. We beat around the bush. Give direct feedback. I don't grow as an athlete if my coach is like, hey, maybe you could just skate a little slower. Directness. This is why I believe this lesson and this learning, it's 2 parts. It's what I contribute to it and how I'm showing up for you so that you can show up for me. So it's like they say there's no a better question gets a better answer, right? So it's very important. What was the question again? So I just want to make sure I didn't go off there.
Healthy boundaries.
Healthy boundaries. But that's where, so if I can communicate effectively, I can create those boundaries. How many times we're in a group chat, my 7 girlfriends from kindergarten, and I'm like, do you guys even work? Why is ding, 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 ding? And then they try to get together and it's like only 2 can make that date. And I'm like, oh my God, guys, okay, I removed myself from some chat groups when I was going through this season of silence because I was just constantly being a slave to that. So sometimes a boundary is take yourself out of the group chat, hide the social media pages that trigger you. Boundaries, triggers, put a timer on your phone. Don't look at it first time in the morning, first when you wake up, right? Give yourself the first 15 minutes of the day. If you don't learn to do that with yourself, you'll never be able to do it with a group of people. But you need to communicate. Yes, like you said, I'm learning boundaries. But also just say, like, okay, you could even have fun with it. Like, what are you working on this week, Danielle?
Yeah.
Pausing? Okay, make sure when I come over there. No, we're pausing, right? My husband sits in his nothing box on the couch. I'm like, are you in your nothing box? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, kids, let's go for a walk. Daddy's in his nothing box. But we've communicated what we need in that moment, so I know he's had a hard day, he's tired, and he's like, just, Janine, he doesn't even want to hear about my day. I got to go call a friend and tell them instead. Right? So
Call a friend.
exactly.
All right. Who's the best leader you ever played with? And what were the qualities that made them so good?
I don't think I've ever told her this. Her name's Michelle Thornton. She's actually from Ottawa. She actually went on a hockey and soccer scholarship. We were roommates. She was a year or two older. She was a silent leader. So you would think I gravitate to like the noisy people. Just they're my people, right? And I would always gravitate to the coaches that were in my face because my dad was in my face, like, suck it up, let's go. 50 more shots, do it again and do it again, do it again. But as I got older, and what I really respected in her was she said nothing, but everything was on the ice. She always was a leader on the ice. She was not vocal, but she demonstrated in her actions. And I think that's a lesson for all of us. It's easy to spew words, back it up with action. When you back it up with action, when you just keep showing up, there's 3 things that happen. I learn to trust myself. You learn to trust me, right? And I give you permission to do the thing that you're wanting to do because you see me going after my goal and dream. So it's like a triple threat. But Michelle Thornton, I'm going to call you after and let you know I talked about you today. She was a silent leader, and she really inspired me by her actions.
Amazing.
So don't be fooled that some of the people in the room that are quiet or they say they're introverted. You got guys, the quiet ones, they know they're crazy too, and they know stuff. They got shit going on in their minds that you have no idea about. The quiet ones, I always love to sit with random people. I did this in high school. I never liked seeing anyone sit alone, so I would sit with someone in the cafeteria. But sit with someone different at work. Get to know them. Forget work. Yep. But again, yeah, see, I go off on a tangent. There we go. Answer the question.
That's good. Yeah. No, that's wonderful. And I think it really speaks to this group too. Networking is a really big part of the CT community.
Yes.
So I think it's wonderful to be sharing that insight. Okay, we have time for one quick question. How do you suggest private people navigate life's challenges? It actually fits into what we were just talking about. I don't like talking about myself, but it is almost expected, especially when going through stuff.
So I also work for Tomlinson on their environmental team, and we have I'm in roll-off and comfort station. So comfort station is our portable toilet unit. There was a driver, and he had shared with me that you could tell, like, the group all is very tight-knit group, but he kind of was on the fringe. And this is what I brought it to him, and he kind of feels like people were not including him or leaving. I'm like, you have not tried. You have not tried to invest in anyone on the team. You've just, and I get it. That's a fear that I don't have, but I know it's a fear for a lot of people putting themselves out there. You don't have to tell everyone like the color of your underwear, right? But you could just strike up a conversation, start small, expose some part of you. How do we get to, if I don't know that you're going through something, how do I support you at work? And I know we got to keep it professional, and you don't want to hear, it's not like bosses come into work and everybody's having like a psychological session at their desk tomorrow or whatever on Monday. But we need to give people a little bit if we want to invite them in. So if you truly want to connect with someone, you have to open the door. It has nothing to do with anyone else. It has to do with you inviting us in so that we can see the amazing, beautiful person that you are, so that we can share that moment together. That's what I would say there.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much, Janine, for all of your insights today. It's been incredible. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. It's awesome.
Anyone want the full bubbly? It's full.
Janine will be at the back handing out bubbly. Just one, though.
I do have little keep showing up tokens if anyone wants one.
Okay, Janine does have some tokens if you want to stop by the table at the back there while you're heading out to your break. So we've reached the point of the first break in the morning. A couple things before we go. So photo booth, go take your headshots. Those are really useful for networking, career mobility. There's also the hologram booth that has some little neat additions today that's got some Blue Jays animations to it. So take advantage of that even if you got some yesterday and get some updated ones today. We're going to be back here starting at 10:45. If you can all come back by like 10:43, that would be wonderful because we're starting right at 10:45 with David Escher. See you then.